Hello and welcome. This is your Saturday News. I'm your host, Keith Lander. I'm coming to you out of the Tabernacle Baptist Church, Dayton, Ohio studios. Welcome and thank you. This news show is going to be jam-packed with a lot of news because there's a lot of news happening, a lot of big events that's happening, and I want you to be caught up on those events. So let's start with the biggest event that took place January the 20th, which is the inauguration of Joe Biden and Kamala Harris. Joe Biden being president, Kamala Harris being the vice president. You know, your vote shows that it counts because it was the people's vote and basically the people of color, and along with others, you know, who decided to put Joe Biden in the White House. And let's not forget, there'll be other elections coming also. There'll be elections a couple of more years from now. And we have to be mindful. We have to take that same energy. We have to take that same motivation. And we got to get out. And we got to do the same thing that we done for Joe Biden to get the White House. We have to do that same thing. And I'm going to highlight a couple of things from the inauguration. Number one, if you didn't see the inauguration, make sure you pay attention to the poem that was read by Amanda Gorman. She's a poet. Excellent poem. I'm not going to even try to recite any of it because I wouldn't do it justice. But make sure you take a look at that. And also, the individual in attendance that escorted Vice President Harris was Eugene Goodman is his name. Now, if you don't know who Eugene Goodman is, you remember when the riot took place at the Capitol? Well, and the officer was running up the steps, talking on his radio, and the mob was following him. That's who Eugene Goodman is. Eugene Goodman, the reason why he had the mob follow him up those steps, because the mob didn't know where the chamber was, where the Congress were doing the business. But they were about to go down a corridor that would have led them there. And his quick thinking saved the Congress and Vice President Pence, because if you heard some chants from that rally, them people wanted to hang Mike Pence. That's one of the chants they were out there saying, hang Mike Pence. So with the good thinking of Officer Goodman, he diverted those people away and took them up some steps where his backup was soon to come. So if you didn't recognize him in attendance, he was there. So I just wanted to bring that fact up. And also, Kamala Harris, her wardrobe. It's been reported that some of her wardrobe was designed by two black designers, part of it. And the two men named, and I'll give you their name, is there's two black designers named Christopher John Rogers and Sergio Hudson. Those are two individuals who contribute to the wardrobe of Kamala Harris, two black designers. So you may want to look up some of their stuff because she was sharp, I can tell you that. And of course, Michelle Obama and President Obama they were there, and of course they always sharp, they always nice, you know, and there's some other folks, Bill Clinton and the rest of the folks, you've seen all those people. But the bottom line is we got to be careful here, y'all, because we had the inauguration, and that's good and that's fine. I appreciate it, I love it. You know, I respect Joe Biden as a human being, a decent human being, as a man of faith, and as a man that's going to do the right thing for the will of the people. And what we've seen the last 4 years, I don't even want to bring up no more because that's nonsense and it's gone, and that's it. You know, but the bottom line is we can disagree on politics, but we don't have to disagree where we make enemies out of each other. We're all in this thing together, and the only way we're going to get it fixed is together. And I hear the call for unity out of President Biden, out of Kamala Harris, out of some Democrats, senators and representatives. They all calling for unity. We have to hear that same thing coming from the other side of the aisle. And if we don't hear that same thing coming from the other side of the aisle, we won't get any unity. Now, you got the right idea. If you don't like the person who won the election, try to vote them out the next election. Don't do what those people did, those Trump supporters did, by storming the Capitol, breaking windows, tearing up desks, hitting a police officer across the head with a fire extinguisher, you know, causing mayhem, defecating in the chambers of one of the congressperson. That's not how you get change. That's how you get chaos. And like I said before on the last show, when those people rioted and did all that destructive, lawless stuff, I said that they were going to get caught and they were going to jail. Now, Donald Trump has left town. You people sitting in jail for doing all that foolishness, Donald Trump is done with his pardons. He can't pardon you. He's gone. Donald Trump ain't paying for your legal fees. Some of you people lost your job. That's your livelihood. Some of these people they were firefighters, reservists, some police officers, some people were attorneys. All these people went up there and just lost their mind, just wrecked the place. And what did they get? They got to go to jail. And Donald Trump, what did he get? He went home. He's probably drinking some kind of fancy wine while you sitting in jail with your jail inmates. And from what I understand, jail is not nice. So I haven't been there, but I know some people who have, and it hadn't changed. So I'm gonna move on from that. I will like to say this. Let me bring up a couple of words that you hear in the news a lot. Insurrection a lot. You hear that? Insurrection. They participated in insurrection. Donald Trump had these people do an insurrection. Well, let me explain what insurrection is. An insurrection is an act or instance of revolting against civil authority or an established government. That's what insurrection is. And that's what happened. And then you hear the word sedation. What a sedation is a violent attempt to disrupt the constitutional functioning of our government. So those two words fit what those people did, and Donald Trump, who encouraged those people, who motivated those people, and he didn't do it alone. He had some help. And I'm not going to call their names. You know who they were. And look at all these conservative media outlets. They were pandering to this nonsense about the election was stolen. Election wasn't stolen. Election was won fair and square. Now, since Joe Biden and there's a 50-50 split in the Senate, hopefully we can get something done. We need some relief. The country is falling apart, and hopefully Joe Biden could put it together. This reminds me of the time when President Obama took office after George Bush. The country was in a downward spiral. President Obama and his team brought this country from the ruins and got this country on solid footing. And then it was turned over to Trump, and you see the results of that, total chaos. So now we're back to Joe Biden, who is President Obama's vice president. He knows how to get things done. He's been in Washington for a long time. And I keep telling people, if you come talking about you want to run for office and you never held office and you ain't no politician and all that kind of nonsense, let me ask you this. If you go to your doctor and your doctor come in the room and say, well, I'm not a doctor, but I'm going to operate on you, would you let him operate on you? No. So why would you have somebody inexperienced, don't have no lick of sense on how government works, who has a grievance against the government? Why would you send them to Washington and do some work of the will of the people when you know they're not? So keep that in mind next time you go to the voting booth. Let me say this about these people. These, about 127 Republicans voted to overturn the election. They voted to overturn the election in certain parts of states like Georgia, Pennsylvania, and those states, those parts of those states where they tried to overturn the election were predominantly African American. Predominantly African American places where they tried to overturn the election. And then these same people who tried to eliminate the vote of the people, they got the nerve on MLK Day to quote Martin Luther King. You can't get much hypocritical than that. Martin Luther King never stood for the crap that we just witnessed from Trump and his henchmen and some of these representatives. Never would have stood for it, would have spoke out against it. Definitely would have spoke out against those rioters, the looters, the thugs, and the people who just ain't got a lick of sense that was being played by Donald Trump, you see? See, in a con, you're either the mark or you're the con. You're doing the conning, see? And if you don't know the difference, then you're the mark. That's that street language. Some of y'all won't get it, but ask somebody who know. Let's move on to the scan alert. I like the scan alert. We got a good one this time. The scan alert, this is how this thing works. It deals with Medicare. Now, Medicare, y'all pay attention to this because a lot of people are receiving Medicare, so pay attention to this. And I'll read you how the scan works. The way it works is you receive a call from someone who claims they're helping you navigate your Medicare options. They may call themselves a healthcare advocate or some kind of title like that. The caller said they want to enroll you in a better program that you currently have. They'll tell you it's cheaper. They'll tell you can keep all your same services, and they might tell you some other stuff. And what they'll do is they'll say, in order to get started, we need some information. And what they're trying to get at is your Medicare ID number. Do not give these people your Medicare ID number. That's not the way it works, And so some of these people also would call and say they try to trick you. They'll try to frighten you. They'll say they're trying to assist you. They'll claim your Medicare is discontinued, and they want you to enroll with them. Don't do that either. That's a scam. People representing Medicare and Affordable Care Act do not contact you by phone, email, or in person unless you're already signed up. You know what I mean? Because they have all that information on hand. And then if these people come in and try to offer you gifts, like free stuff, you'll get this free if you sign up, that's illegal. That's the first thing that tips you off of the scam. That's illegal. If they come talking about they're going to give you something free, don't bite for it. Just hang the phone up, and you can call a representative of whoever you have Medicare under and get the thing straightened out. So don't fall for that hustle. That's the Medicare. That's the Medicare hustle. So spread that word, y'all, because they prey on seniors and people who they think they can get over on, that kind of stuff. But stick with me. I'll expose all the scams before I get done with this show by the end of the year. The other big issue in the news is the coronavirus. The vaccine is up and running. And I'm going to give you 2 sites where you can go and get accurate, up-to-date information, because the information is changing as the days go by. More providers are providing the vaccine. I will tell you this, that vaccine is free. Do not pay a dime for that vaccine. You can't jump to the front of the list just because you got, a little money and all that kind of stuff. That won't work. Maybe if you're the president of the United States, like Joe Biden and Kamala Harris, who's vice president, you can get to the front of the line. But other than that, you can't get to the front of the line. I'm going to give you a website from Public Health, Dayton and Montgomery County. The website, you get up-to-date information on this, is phdmc.org/vaccine-update. Okay, I'll read that again so you can get a pencil. We'll put it on the screen. phdmc.org/vaccine-update. So that's one of the sites you can go and you can get up-to-date information because they're giving out the vaccine starting January 19th to people who are 80 and older. And then on January the 25th, people who are 75 and older and people with certain medical conditions. I'll run down a list of those medical conditions in a minute. The other is February the 1st, people 70 or older and K through 12 staff and personnel. You can get and then February the 8th, 65 and older, you'll be eligible to get yours. But the other website that I want to give you that you can also search out information is called vaccine.coronavirus.ohio.gov. I'll say it again. We'll put that on the screen. Vaccine.coronavirus.ohio.gov. Now, when you go to that site, you put in your zip code and your county, and it'll pop up places that are giving the vaccine. And you'll probably have to go on the list. I think when I read this article, everything was filling up real fast. And so, but there'll be more spots available as this thing rolls out. So make sure you get to those websites and you sign up. If you know somebody who fits those age groups, sign them up and quickly. Let me give you the list of medical conditions that will get you the vaccine if you're younger than 65 a lot earlier. And if you have any of these conditions, you can get the vaccine a lot quicker if you're not 65. That's cerebral palsy, spina bifida, congenital heart disease, type 1 diabetics, inherit disorder. That's inherit metabolic disorder, that is. I got to get me some new glasses. Severe neurotic disorder, including epilepsy, Down syndrome, fatigue X, Turner syndrome, and then severe lung disease, including cystic fibrosis and severe asthma, sickle cell anemia. So if you have any of those conditions, contact your physician and say, hey, can I get this virus because I'm not 65? Can I still get it? While the people are getting theirs. This virus is deadly, folks. In California, funeral homes is running out of space because of the deaths in California. And the funeral homes, they just don't have the space. They have so many people who are dying from this virus. And so the bottom line is that there's been over 400,000 deaths in America due to this virus. And, one of the things that one of the funeral home directors said in California is that he said he's been in the funeral industry for 40 years and never in his life did he think this could happen. He says, I have to tell families, no, we can't take your family member. And that's heartbreaking, folks, not only for the funeral business, but some of these funeral homes, when you have one death in the family, they usually come back, and if you have another one, they usually use the same funeral home. They can't take them anymore, folks, people. This stuff is still deadly. It's still out there. The vaccines are out there. Keep reminding people, wash your hands, wear your mask, practice social distancing. If you do those things, your chances of catching this virus, dwindles. So make sure you do those things so that you can keep yourself safe, keep your family safe, and we don't want to be like these people out in California. Man, they're hurting. Hopefully this thing, we can get a handle on it. We have an administration now who's competent. We have an administration now who understands what the American people need, and President Biden is putting together his team and got his team together and to work to get this vaccine out a lot quicker, get information out a lot quicker, and make sure we can curtail this virus. Hopefully by summertime we can have some more family reunions because I so miss them. You know what I mean? So in the meantime, the Dayton School Board extended Elizabeth Loli contract. Dayton School Board, she's the president now. She's got another contract for another 2 years, which extended the contract until July 2023. And there were some public comments. Some of the public comments, they were mixed with criticism and some for support. A handful of parents went down and made their comments known, their position known. They cited that they asked the board not to keep Loli, but they had their say. They cited several severe staff turnovers, continued busing, special education problems, low staff morale, and some of the students and family have not been listened to. So those were some of the comments from the parents. Dayton Mayor Nan Whaley also made a statement praising Loli. She says she praised her for her many partnerships with the city, and collection of union leaders urged the board to extend Loli's contract, saying that she worked hard, built a good relationship with employees, groups, and made tough decisions. See, that's what it's all about, folks. You can go down, you can disagree, you can have your say, and once you're done, let the chips lay where they lie, and you can still come back and say, what you have to say. We don't have to go down there and bash each other across the head with a chair, and we don't have to point the finger and say you're un-American. We don't have to, we don't have to do any of that stuff. This is what democracy is. Democracy is you got, opposing views, but the bottom line is we come together and we get the work done. That's what we needed, and I think that's what we'll have going forward. Also in the news, Dayton City Commissioner Jeff Mims Jr. announced that he will run to be Dayton's next mayor. If you're not familiar with Commissioner Mims is on his second term as city commissioner. He previously held and served as an educator. He was one of my teachers at Belmont, class of 1981. which is probably one of the best classes to come out of Belmont. I know y'all disagree with that, but anyway, he also coached. He's a soccer coach, a track coach. He was the president of the Dayton School Union. He also was a school board member and a state school board member. And I think when Commissioner Mims was on the state school board, I think he was the only black on the state school board, I believe. So he's got quite a bit of accomplishments. I'll read some of the remarks by Commissioner Joseph. Commissioner Joseph stated that he's the kind of friend you want, he's the kind of colleague you want, Joseph said, and he's the kind of leader you want. Those are the words from Matt Joseph. And during his announcement, Jeff Mims said he's want to make sure economic development is a top priority because businesses are in trouble due to the coronavirus pandemic. And that can never be, that's really true. Everybody's hurting because of this pandemic. But, you know, trouble don't last long. Trouble don't last long, folks. Just hang on in there. We got new business open up downtown. Focus on minority business. I think I'll focus on the minority business, you know, when I do the show. And a new gourmet dessert and cupcake cafe gearing up to open in downtown Dayton. Now, it's called Kia Cake and Company. Is shooting for a Valentine's Day opening on the ground floor of the Biltmore Towers, which is downtown. Her name is Kia Johnson. She's a Daytonian, and she make good desserts. Now, the grand opening is titled "Cake in the Name of Love," and it'll be opening at the grand opening will be Valentine's Day, which is Sunday, February the 14th, from 1 to 6. And the plans are still being worked out, but there'll be samples and raffles and other goodies. So if you can make it, that's February the 14th from 1 to 6. And just to give you a sample of some of her cupcakes on the menu selection, I'll run down a few of them. Strawberry Crunch, Blueberry Lemonade, Raspberry Swirl, the Don, whichever, I don't know what that is, but I get down there and see it. Birthday Vibes, Chocolate Banana Swirl, a vegan chocolate. How about that? For all you vegans out there, y'all get on down there and get some of these sweets. Y'all can eat sweets. She'll have vegan chocolate down there. Apple cobbler. Banana pudding. You know, this is just some of the stuff she'll have, some of the cupcakes and desserts she'll have, and some of the names. And she's still working. She's working to get start a wine company, so you can get some. You'll have some wine, and she'll have specialty cigars, and this gonna be nice, very nice. So if you can make it on February the 14th, which is Valentine's Day, maybe you and your sweetie and go on down there and get your sweets, and then go and do whatever folks do on Valentine's Day. You know, so the next show. You know, we will be coming, we'll be doing this every other Saturday, so always be on the lookout. I'll have as much information as I can to dispense with, try to keep the community informed, try to keep you up to date, and try to keep you safe with this virus. That's the main thing. And so without further ado, I will say this. You know, we have to pay attention. I'll give you just a short commentary. I won't last long. We have to pay attention of who's running and why they're running and what's their agenda. We can no longer put people into office who has a grievance against government. We've seen how that worked out the last 4 years. We sent people to Congress, we sent people to the State House who didn't care about governing for the people. It was sensationalism. It was about me, not about the constituents. So when we go to the polls, you know, we'll be going to the polls again next couple of years, and we'll have runoff elections and all this kind of thing. Pay attention to that. Don't just hit on the sound bites. You know, look into what these people are running, look into their background. And if you find somebody to pop up out of nowhere, and they talk about what all they're going to do and how they're going to do it and all this kind of thing, ask yourself a question. Where were you when If you had all the answers, you didn't give them up when you had them. You didn't give them up at the time of need. So what I'm saying is we got people right out here talking about, the coronavirus is fake and all that kind of thing. Don't bother with that. Them people don't like those people. Don't like those people. We got to put people in the office that is willing to do the will of the people, all people. I'm not saying we have to agree, but we do have to understand we have to put people in positions that's going to work for all the people and not just get on a soapbox about a grievance, about a dislike, and all that kind of stuff, and who just want to just tear up stuff. I was a union representative for a long time, and people used to, one of the criticism I used to get was, "Oh, Keith, you too calm, man. You got to go in there, you got to holler and scream." And I told them once in the union meeting, I said, look, to the members, I said, look, I can go up to the HR representative office, human service office, I can go in and I can turn over desks, I can throw the computer out the window, I can kick and scream and holler. But at the end of the day, whatever issue I went up there to get resolved won't get resolved. I just done made a mess of the office. That's all, and a fool out of myself. The issue's not resolved. So the better approach is to go up there with suggestions on how we can resolve the issue. That's the better approach. That way, we get something done. The other way, me up there acting a fool, kicking over stuff, tearing up stuff, that don't get you nowhere. It'd probably get me arrested, And that's what they got Donald Trump supporters arrested. How'd that work out for you? Didn't work out too good. So on that note, I'll say this. Folks, always try to do your best. Do the best you can. Do the best you can. And if you have a little, do what you had to do to make more. That's all. Do your best. The only person that stops you from succeeding is yourself. Not a politician, not a school teacher, not any of that stuff. The only one that stops you is yourself. You, the only one who has control of your failure or your success. And the only way you fail if you stop trying. Keep that in mind. Spread that to the young folk. Nobody owes you anything. You owe it to yourself. Nobody owes you nothing. Now, I'm going to close with that. Until next time, may God bless you and your family.